It really seemed like we were settling into an animation groove. Doctor Who fans have been spoilt with home media releases over the past years, but while the collection box sets seem to be going strong, the animations have suffered a less than stellar turn of events. As it's likely clear to you by now, BBC America have pulled their funding of the missing episode animations. BBC America had been contributing towards all the animations since 2016, excluding The Web of Fear, with the release of the original, ill-fated, Power of the Daleks animation, until an article by the Daily Mirror on the 12th of January reported their extermination of these plans. But all was not over just yet. On Doctor Who's 58th anniversary, it was announced that BBC Studios and Big Finish had come together once again to animate the well-loved 6-part serial, The Abominable Snowmen. The Doctor returns to the Himalayas 300 years after his first visit to return the Holy Ganta, an ancient relic he was given many centuries ago by the grateful monks at Detsen Monastery. On arriving, the Doctor is blamed for a series of murders in the area. However, Jamie and Victoria discover the true culprits. The previously peaceful Yeti that live in seclusion on the mountainside have apparently turned violent. Much like a handful of other animations, The Abominable Snowmen is not completely missing, despite all the episodes being animated. As early as 1968, this serial would face a wipe/junk authorization form from BBC Enterprises for just episode 4, although this never came about. Despite this, following a purge of Hartnell episodes, another form was issued on Monday the 21st of July 1969, generated by the BBC department, and coinciding with the wind-up to John Pertwee's takeover of the Doctor. Some of these episodes were still covered by old retention orders, including nearly every episode of The Abominable Snowmen, aside from episode 4, where the previous form came into effect. The rest of the episodes weren't safe for long, however, and were included in another form on the 22nd of September. But alas, not all the 2-inch tapes of the episodes were wiped. Episodes 3, 5 and 6 remained. Perhaps there was hope. Nope, 3 days later, they were junked. It appears that 4 prints of this serial were made for international broadcast. 1 to Australia, 1 to Singapore and New Zealand, 1 to Hong Kong, and another to Gibraltar, Zambia and Nigeria. The Australian print is the only one known to have been returned in 1975. The Singapore-New Zealand print may have been sent elsewhere in 1973. The Hong Kong prints were potentially destroyed in a fire sometime around 1990, but either way, Hong Kong has confirmed that they do not hold any copies. The Gibraltar, Zambia, Nigeria print's fate is unknown. In the summer of 1981, Roger Stevens, a BBC film editor, would come across a co-worker's collection of 16mm film prints of various TV programmes. Among these were 7 black and white Doctor Who prints, and Stevens purchased them for £25. One of these prints was the 2nd episode of The Abominable Snowmen. Stevens passed on these prints to Ian Levine, who went on to return what was necessary to the BBC archives. 2 short clips from episode 4 exist, acquired from a November 1967 episode of Late Night Lineup. Location films in North Wales were taken by both director Gerald Blake as well as Fraser Hines, both on 8mm cameras. One of the initial dilemmas that the team at Big Finish faced was whether they should faithfully emulate the original Welsh shooting locations, or instead attempt to make it look more authentically Tibetan. Mark B. Oliver, an executive producer and script supervisor of this new animated version, had visited Tibet in 2019 and noted how astonishing the skies and monasteries were. And executive producer, director and co-producer Gary Russell showed an interest in using appropriately coloured clothing for the monks and lamas. In fact, the lamas' robes were influenced by Cho Jae from Planet of the Spiders. Gary Russell was surprised to see that Tibet was not covered in snow in Mark's photos, but they did make things look very murky and muddy, and snow would return to the land once the Great Intelligence was defeated. In the end, it was a kind of combination, with Mark noting that out of all the stories Big Finish Creative have done, this will hopefully be the one that's truest to the original. India-based animation outfit Digitoons also returns following Fury from the Deep and Galaxy 4. Mark and Gary have praised Digitoons' 3D models, specifically that of the entire monastery. It was also helpful working with a company from that area, as they knew Tibetan culture quite well. Post-production, compositing and grading was all helmed by Shapeshifter Studios, returning from Fury from the Deep and the notorious Web of Fear. Except Shapeshifter Studios has been involved much more than you think. Previously, for at least the BBC America animations, it seemed seemed that a lot of these responsibilities were split, whether it was Digitoons and Thaumaturgy, or Shapeshifter and Thaumaturgy, or potentially some other team, but these latter two are now actually one and the same. Operating in Sydney, Thaumaturgy even helped out with Big Finish on the 10th Planet animation, as Planet 55 was based nearby. Gary Russell was also intent on reflecting the diverse nature of an authentic Himalayan monastery. He spoke in Doctor Who magazine, stating, "We've got Chinese, Malaysian, Indian, Korean and Tibetan characters. I wanted the whole of Asia in there, and was very keen to make everyone look as they would have done in a Tibetan monastery of the 1930s. Russell has also mentioned that it was important for them to do what they could about the dodgy representation of these characters, attempting to soften the mistakes of the old production team, while keeping the performances as true to their origins as possible. A large majority of the animation production team were never even shown the existing second episode of this story. Gary Russell didn't want this episode to simply mimic what has been done already, and instead felt it would be better if the process was done entirely the same as the other 5 episodes. Despite the Mirror reporting that all projects beyond the Abominable Snowmen have been cancelled, I believe we should not give up hope just yet. Anybody, such as BritBox, could pick up where BBC America left off. And let's not forget, we had 9 episodes animated before they even came on board. Additionally, we still don't even know exactly what has been going on behind the scenes with BBC America and BBC Studios, especially given they refused to comment. Perhaps we were only ever meant to get the amount of animations that we got, or perhaps BBC America are awaiting the reception of the Abominable Snowmen. We may not know now, but I'm sure our prayers will be answered.